I'm gonna tell myself a message here from July. This is to Jared in like November. Boy, this episode was a to get going because of audio issues. Man, those are great. Anyways, hi, hello. Welcome to this week's episode of Jared Now Watch Love Live Sunshine. I got my rant off my chest, so I feel great. This is episode like 23. 23
Wow.
of this podcast. I'm Jared, that's Anne Ladyem.
Hello.
And we're here to talk to you about season 2, episode number 10. It's called Finding a Way to Shine.
I wonder what we're going to do.
We're going to talk about being shiny. My voice doesn't go that high, so I cannot pull off the Mari shiny.
Like I said, she's just a big fan of Shiny, the band.
Which is a real good goof. So we are on the road to the end.
And this is mostly like, to be honest, a filler.
It is kind of a weird filler episode, yeah.
And we get some important information from it, but for the most part, it's a filler episode.
Because for the most part, this is just about like, hey, the third years are coming to terms with this is it for their school career, or high school career, I should say. And okay, what are we doing? What's the next step of our lives? And that's what we're figuring out. Along with some just weird stuff that happens.
Yeah, I mean, there's some weird nonsense that goes on that
really weird nonsense
is unexplained. I'm just like, oh, okay, that happened. Sure, I mean, fine.
Obviously, I've like talked about this to you of like, oh, this is the episode where a said thing happens, and it's like other said thing. When I watched this episode for the first time live, when it was like airing, like I got to the end, I was like, what the just happened?
Everybody did drugs.
I mean, basically. But before we get to that, let's dive through this episode as we usually do.
Dive.
So we start this episode with the return of Baby Dia Bangs.
Baby Dia Bangs! Long live the Baby Dia Bangs!
Because it is Tiny, her, Kanan, and Mari as they are trying to...
Small children.
As they're trying to be small children and also try to find the stars because they want to wish on a shooting star that they can be friends forever. But it's cloudy and rainy, so no stars.
It's funny because they're probably like between 6 and 8 years old or something, maybe even younger. Mm-hmm. They're like on a tram by themselves and like up in the mountains by themselves looking for these stars. I'm like, this seems dangerous.
I mean, as we learned through this episode, it seems like those kids were doing some really rambunctious shit.
It's true. But they can't find any stars because it's bad outside.
It's true.
So they draw their own.
Yeah, Kanan draws a star on Mari's like star finder thing.
Yeah, it's like a constellation finder.
Yeah. So we go back to modern day, and it is New Year's. So Chica is in her kimono. She's painting a New Year's greeting for her family, and Shitaki's getting blinded by paint.
She made Shitaki into a panda.
While Shitaki was wearing an orange.
Of course, because it's Chica.
She goes into like where her mom and her sisters are, and she's like, oh, it's New Year's, you know what that means. And, you know, I'm about to be in my third year of high school, but that doesn't mean I'm an adult yet. So I love to get things that are very round and shiny.
And valuable.
So her mom just like gives her just a bunch of random shit. Like, this is round, this is shiny, this is valuable.
Tiny Mom is great.
And she's like, Ugh.
Hey, you know what I just realized?
What?
Sailor Moon had a Tiny Mom too.
We just love to watch shows that have tiny moms in them.
Tiny moms, man.
It's true.
My favorite was Chica putting the round thingy on Shitaki's head. And Shitaki's just like, this is fine.
Because like she gets this big ball as the last thing, and Chica just gets mad and storms off because I think Yo and Rico show up, and she just like balances the ball on Shitaki's head, and Shitaki's just like, I guess I'll just keep this on my head now.
I guess this is where it lives.
So they meet up with the rest of the girls at the school, and they're all just like sitting around in their kimonos waiting, and one of them's like, "Who are we waiting for?" And Mari's like, "Oh, I think that's Daya right now." And Daya and Ruby show up in a car, and you thought at first Ruby was driving the car.
I forgot the Japanese cars have the driver on the right side.
Yeah, they're right-hand
And
drive.
so when Ruby pulled up and was like getting out of the front seat, I was like, who's letting Ruby drive this thing?
I would watch an anime that was like Ruby becoming like a Tokyo drifter.
Oh my god, I would too, honestly.
So they get out of the car, and then lo and behold, it is the fantastic duo known as Saint Snow.
The Ultimates are hanging out in the back seat.
Have come to help Aqua practice for the Love Live finals.
How nice of them.
And they're like, "Why the fuck are you guys in your kimonos? We're gonna be practicing, you dummies."
Practice.
So they all change and go to do some practice. Saint Snow is shocked to find out that Iranohoshi is going to be shut down. They're like, "Oh, that's
They're also.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, you're fine.
I was gonna say they're also really disappointed in the training regime that
It's very true.
that Aqua has. They're like, oh man, you guys, you're really out of shape.
Yeah, so they're bummed that the school's getting shut down, but everyone else is like, yeah, it's happening. It's whatever. So like, okay.
That's really different from a few episodes ago.
Yeah, that's very true. So yeah, like they put Aqua through their paces, by, like just running them up and down like stairs and stuff, and like make them do laps around the school, and there's like, oh no. And Leah's just like whipping the first years into shape.
It's amazing.
It's real good. While this is happening, they realize like Mari is like disappeared.
Yep.
And Diane and Connor are like, oh well, she got a call from her parents, so like she's gonna take care of that. She'll be right back. And then they meet up in the gym, and Mari's like, so my dad offered me the job as being director of the new school. And they're like, yo, that's cool. Chica's like, oh, that means Mari's gonna come to school with us next year.
Like, you make it sound like she failed.
Yeah. And then Mari's like, but let's just say I kind of turned that down. And they're like,
I'm going. Ooh.
So she's gonna, yeah, there you go. So she's gonna go travel abroad and study at a university in Italy.
Italy.
Which of course makes a ton of sense because the movie takes place in Italy.
Wonder why they're going to Italy.
Chica is going to go into the Coliseum and challenge every school idol to a fight to the death.
I believe it, and Chica's gonna win.
Chica's gonna win, yeah. So they're very surprised by that Mari's gonna go off on her own, but they kind of also see this coming because this is what happens when you're third year.
Right.
So basically, everyone kind of gets like a little bummed out that they're not going to be going to a new school with the third years and all that stuff. And then they see Saint Snow off, which is real good. Because like Leah's just like tearing into them, and Ruby just comes up like, well, you know what? We're going to do our Rubesti.
It was so funny.
And Leah's like, Rubesti? What?
That was great.
It's real good. So we do like a cut to this big tunnel thing that's like all lit up and stuff, and it's the third years are just chilling in that, and they're having like a little discussion about what they're going to be doing next, because that's an important thing to figure out. And Mari's just like, hey, I'm surprised you guys weren't like that surprised or like trying to hold me back or anything. And the other two is like, yeah, it's because we're both going our separate ways as well, so that'd be kind of real selfish of us.
Yep.
So Daya is going off to a university in Tokyo, which makes sense, and Kanan is going overseas as well
She's going to the ocean.
She's going to the ocean under the sea. She's going to go get her diver's instructing license, which I don't even know how long that would take. So
I don't either, but
or why she would need to go overseas for that.
Overseas, right?
It's a little weird.
I have no idea. Like I said, Italy, Tokyo, and under the sea.
Just like that one song
That we can't sing on here because we'll get copyright strikes.
No. the frozen head of Walt Disney will come rain the fires of hell upon us.
It's true, but it's a great song.
There you go.
If not a little, it's as an adult, I've realized that that song is a little bit racist.
Yeah, not surprising.
It was kind of shocking for me when I listened to it somewhat recently. I'm like, wait a minute.
So they have like a big reminiscing moment about how Mari used to sneak out of her out of her house to go meet up with Daya and Kanan, and it's just this escalating story of like, well, you used to sneak out, so your parents moved you up to the second floor, and then you found a way to get out that way, and into the third floor, and you found another way out, and to the fourth floor, and you once again found another way out until they just put you on the top floor to try and mitigate you sneaking out all the time.
And we get our first guy in the entire series.
Yeah, we get to see kind of a little bit of Mari's parents, which include her dad. So that is a dude in this series.
So this was my favorite part of this entire episode because Mari's like talking about how she said that she was going to disown her parents, and then at one point she's like, I'm going to disown God. I'm like, yes.
Because they're like saying like, do you think this is some like God like just trying to keep us apart even though we keep wishing for it? And they're just like, well, if that happens, I'm just going to disown this spiteful God.
I'm all about it.
It's real good. So they have that real good moment together, which I think it that moment really pays off well, like considering all the that they've been through.
Oh yeah.
Like,
well, it shows how long that they've been together.
Yeah,
it's good, and like what all they've done to stay together.
And I think like if they don't go through that immense drama that they go through in the first season, like I don't think this moment pays off as well as it does.
I agree.
So basically, yeah, they have a good heart to heart about their plans for everything, and the constellation sheet gets brought up again, and we go back to Chica's place where she's getting her money, and she's very excited. which really is not her money. She doesn't get money. I forgot. She thinks she gets money, and it becomes just a never ending series of like,
it's a scavenger hunt.
Go here. Yeah, it's a scavenger hunt. This is where we also get the second dude.
Yep.
Because we get Chica's dad, who's just
Chica's
like
dad,
his torso and an arm, who just points her in a direction.
Which we have never seen her dad. We've only heard of him like once or twice, and then he appeared, and he's just like,
he's too busy just
man.
Cooking stuff, I guess, to show up. So she gets like a never-ending like scavenger hunt, and like it leads to the big ball again. And I believe we didn't get subtitled here for some reason, but I believe on it's like a like good luck and in the Love Life finals or something of that nature.
Mm.
And Chica's like, oh, that's sweet. And then just like everyone else just randomly shows up. And she's like, what are you guys doing here? And then we just see like Mari and Kanan in a fake VW little bus. And there's like, get in, girls, we're going driving.
It's like an abrupt landing there.
So they go off on this drive, and just everyone's just hanging out. And
which, by the way, don't let Mari drive. Mari's terrible at it.
She has a rough start trying to get out of Chica's like driveway or whatever.
She's really bad at driving.
I mean, she seemed okay when she was on the road. Well, until one thing happens, but
yeah.
So the third years are like, yeah, we were just hanging out. We thought we were going to just, take a drive and just chill out. And they're like, why don't we just grab everyone else? That'd be real cool. We don't really get to like impromptu hang out like this that often. So let's do this.
Let's go find our shooting star.
Let's go find some shooting stars. And then at one point, they're just driving through the countryside, and then the car just starts flying in the air. And everyone's nonplussed about it. They're just like, oh, this is nice.
Wait a minute. I have an idea.
Okay.
So they go flying in the air at this point, right?
Yes.
The theory now.
They recreate the ET logo.
Aqua is dead.
Hate you.
The rest of the series is just, the pretend of what could have been, but Aqua actually died on disc 1. and flying into the sky is reminiscent of that. Yes, there we go. Representative.
I wonder how many people are gonna get that. They're gonna be like, what are these people talking about? They're the ones on drugs, not Aqua.
But if you do get it, then it's funny.
It really is. So they fly through the sky for like a tiny bit, but then it just shows them parking the van at one point, and they're like, "Oh look, it's shooting stars," because it clears.
Yeah, it was all rainy and gross again. Which it was all rainbow and sparkly when they were flying. That was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they're gonna go find their shooting star, and it clears up, and they can see the stars, and they all want to make their own wishes.
Yep.
It's mainly just stay together.
Mm-hmm. And then the episode ends with them just like sleeping in the van.
Yep. Which putting 9 people into a van and having them sleep cannot be comfortable.
Well, so there was like 3 benches.
Yeah.
Because it was Kanan and Mari, Kanan and Mari were in the front.
Mm-hmm.
The second years were in the middle, and then the first years in Daya were in the back seat.
Correct.
That back seat's gonna be like squished.
Yep.
That would be kind of uncomfortable, but hey, they made it work somehow. But yeah, that's kind of our big little that's our breather before we get into this is a really good episode if you're marathoning it, just to get a breather in between like some real big emotional that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Because between the Hakodate arc, and then just the last 3 episodes, like you really need it. So like this is actually a good place to put like an episode like this.
I agree. Because we're on the road in the sky to some really intense emotional ouchies.
Yeah. You cried, I cried.
Oh, I cried so much. It was a little embarrassing.
Were shed. I mean, trust me, like going into this, I knew like this show was will incredibly make you emotional. So no need to be embarrassed by that.
It did. It did its job.
Yeah. Let's talk about some notes about this episode, though.
All right.
Our ending credits character this time was Mari. This episode marked the first physical appearance of Mari's parents, though her father has been mentioned in previous episodes, obviously, and Chica's dad, as we mentioned. Although not physically appearing, Mari's maids made a voiced appearance in the beginning of this episode, which I don't remember, but apparently happened. Maybe it just didn't happen in the dub?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Chica shouting something in Japanese, this will be translated. Let's play more and more until it clears up. Towards the end of the episode is a possible reference to the lyrics in Mijaku Dreamer. Let's play until it clears up. This is a really good one. It is unclear if Mari's van actually flew, though this is likely just a visual metaphor.
Amazing.
No, it's just clear that they all died on disc 1.
Yep.
It is later revealed that Mari had a habit of sneaking out of her hotel room since she was younger. Because of this, her parents transferred her room from one floor to another up to the top floor, as we mentioned. And we got some errors and goofs. Some animation errors. In the flashback sequence, Kanan's ponytail repeatedly changes into her hair bun in several scenes.
Whoops.
After the opening, when Chica splashes ink on Shitaki's right eye, the ink disappears and then reappears. I noticed that.
I did too.
The characters are not present in the flying CG rendered van. Because they're all dead.
They're all dead. They all died in disc 1.
Mm-hmm. And then some continuity errors. Despite previously referring Daya with a chan suffix and don't call me Daya-san, Chica still refers to her as Daya-san this episode.
Oops.
But they do that in the finale. At least they did in the dub. I would assume that the same thing happens in the Japanese dub. Because she calls her girlfriend in the...
Girlfriend.
Yeah. And also, despite taking place on the first day of the new year, January 1st, which is also Daya's birthday...
Happy birthday, Daya!
It's not referenced or acknowledged in this episode.
Oh...
Man,
tragic.
We didn't even get like a stereotypical tropey shrine visit out of this episode.
We do get a shrine visit in the next few episodes, but not one
not
here.
Like traditional New Year's shrine visit. It's just, hey, we're gonna wear kimonos and talk about getting money.
You beg for money.
So next time we run into the final 3 episodes, which thankfully the preview image of this episode is great because it is the let's do our Rubesti image.
Yes.
That we have passed around with each other. Next time, the penultimate episode. That doesn't really make sense, but we're gonna go with it. The prequel to the penultimate episode.
We are on the lead up now on the flying road to Love Live.
It's true.
And the end of the school.
Season 2, episode 11. We will be talking about next week, entitled Aranahoshi Girls High School. It's quite fitting.
Yep.
So yeah, that's what we'll be talking about next week. But until then, if you'd like more from us, go to seasonlanguagecheckup.com or sac.cool, where you can find past episodes of this podcast and other podcasts like Season Language Checkup and Season Language Checkup OVA, and columns and reviews on the site as well. If you'd like more from Anne Ladyem, go to AnneLadyem.com. She's got columns and reviews as well. They're real good.
Yay!
And you can follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/animecheckup. So yeah, next time, the 11th episode of Season 2, it's about the high school.
Tears will be shed.